Okay, these are wise words here. Wise men understand themselves, but fools follow the reports of others. My name is Haruata. The time appears to have gone a little further than when we ought to kickstart the program Aviation today. So we'll be going straight to the program. It's designed to keep you updated with issues around the aviation, global aviation community. We have been looking at that, and one thing we all know clearly well is that the aviation sector is one that is fast growing, and the fastest means of transportation at the moment is the aviation industry. And we've got someone who have been coming here very quickly and ensuring that we are properly informed and educated about things happening around the aviation sector here. If we can have the detail on the screen, that's the detail here for those of you who want to quickly get his contact so that you can interface with him after. Is Mr. Godwin N.E.K. The telephone number is the one you see there, the Airtel, as well as the MTN number. You got the email address there, godwin@yahoo.com. The website is there. Go to his YouTube channel at channel here, Aviation Freaks .officials. You can follow him on Twitter at Aviation Freaks. Those are his contacts, but he is here in the studio with us this morning. Wonderful morning, sir.
Hi, good morning,
Good morning, sir.
How was your weekend?
Weekend was cool. We were at work and all through. We went through the weekend, and it's one very nice one. The Sunday morning downpour was sweet. It cooled the day.
Cooled off the day. Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, quickly, let's start now. Time is far gone here. We're looking at the Russian crash, part 2.
Yes, that's correct. That's correct. The Sukhoi Superjet 100 of Aeroflot crashed, land crashed actually right on the wrong way, and of course caught fire and slaughtered some of the passengers. So we're going to be seeing what's been found out, with further investigation. We did all the preliminaries, last week, and I promised that by this week we would follow through and then see what more we can learn. Remember, the whole essence of this is for us to be conscious, especially flying citizens and non-citizens of Nigeria who are operating within here. Anytime you find yourself in such an unfortunate situation, you have a set mind how to do the right thing, and then hopefully save your own life and not save other people's lives. Okay. So let's hit the ground.
Let's hit the ground now. Part 2, clip 1, quickly. Part 2, clip 1. The land crashing of... okay, good. We got that here.
That's right. So here is the accident preliminary investigation. Good. The Interstate Aviation Committee, fondly known as IAC, that's a Russian executive body of the Civil Aviation and Airspace Use Council, opened an investigation into the accident. Participating in the investigation also is the French Bureau d'Enquête et d'analyse pour la sécurité de l'aviation civile. That is known as BEA. That's the bureau that deals with analysis and the security of aviation. That's simply what that is telling you, civil aviation, by the way. Bureau d'Enquête et d'analyse pour la sécurité de l'aviation civile. That's how it's pronounced in French.
That's process.
An agency of French government responsible for investigating aviation accidents and incidents. That's what BEA, it's all about. They are representing the state of the design of the aircraft engine. So this is simply telling you that the Sukhoi engine was designed in France. Okay. So let's move to
clip 2 now. Clip 2 now.
Clip 2.
Okay.
Here we
Accident
go.
preliminary investigation investigation continues.
Yeah, that's correct. Having recovered both flight recorders and downloading both cockpit voices and flight data, investigating officials immediately opened a criminal investigation into a fatal violation of the rules of safe movement and exploitation of air transport. This is telling us that investigations show that some violations took place. The pilots did one or two things, wrongly, which led to that unfortunate and unnecessary crash.
Okay.
That's right. So the IAC, we already, described who they are, pointed fingers at insufficient skill of the pilots. That brings you to what I often say, that airplanes are faithful machines. Yes, they fall off the skies because human operators can be unfaithful and dishonest. Now, the IAC pointed fingers at insufficient skill of the pilots, dispatchers, and those who perform the technical inspection of the plane, along with mechanical problems and poor weather.
But is that not multi-dimensional? You blame the pilot, blame the inspectors, blame the weather, blame everything?
It's a combination of factors conspiring to end that flight in that unfortunate mode that he ended. Pilots, first of all, was that the airplane was said to have been hit by lightning, which disabled the communication system. Something that is strange in aviation of today, because airplanes are designed to withstand thunder strikes. They are designed to withstand them. So if once in a long while it happens, then something must be wrong with with that particular airplane to have received a hit from thunder. Okay, now that is for the weather. Then the response of the pilots and how they came in. Granted that the pilot didn't have means of further communication with the ATC, that's the control tower, but he was able to find his way, back to the runway. Well, it would appear that he came in with more speed than necessary, number one. Number two, perhaps out of panic, he forgot to engage his flaps. If you are a flyer, and you will understand, if you sit by the window and look out to the wings, you will see that as you are making your final approach, the flaps
come out.
Yes.
Come out.
What those...
I think a braking system.
It's part of the job. It has a multi-purpose job. It slows the airplane down, and what's more, it helps the plane to be sustained in the air at lower speed. Because if you don't have those flaps deployed and you slow down to that 150 knots that you need for touchdown, the likelihood is that that plane will just quickly sink into the terrain, and then you touch down before the threshold of the runway. But when you have them all deployed, you can now slow down,
It makes descent beautiful.
It maintains the air pressure on the wings to sustain the weight of the airplane. Remember, the gravitational pull is also acting on the airplane. Remember that? Yes, the gravitational pull is acting on the airplane, and all the plane is saying to you at that time is, I want to touch down. I want to touch down. That is why, when you are coming into land and you are still above your decision altitude, you can actually change your mind and get away, and abort that landing. But if you fall below your decision altitude, all the plane wants to do at that point is touch down. So those are the issues. And so the pilots did something, that was unprofessional, by forgetting to deploy their flaps. So that was what the investigators also, found out. And that's why they blame everyone. They blame the pilot, blame the weather, blame some technical issues, because come to think of it, why should lightning strike disable all those communication systems? It doesn't happen anymore in modern airplanes. But here we found one now with the Sukhoi. Okay, let's continue with our clip 2. Paragraph 2 of it.
Yeah, experts.
Yeah. Experts are expected to investigate the actions of Sheremetyevo's Fire and Rescue Service. Last week, when Joe was taking me, he had actually asked questions on these lines of the fire service. When did they respond? Why was it that they weren't lined up on the runway as the plane was approaching? And I said to him, Joe, listen, do not beat the gun. Good. Let's wait for investigators to tell us exactly what happened, and so that we know who to hold responsible. And that's exactly what has happened now. Experts are expected to investigate the actions of Sheremetyevo's Fire and Rescue Service. The air traffic control were said to be late with raising the alarm. You see, remember, the young man could not communicate by voice with the ATC.
Well, did they know that the plane was touching down?
Yeah, of course. He had sent codings. Okay. He sent two codings. One, announcing there was an emergency. Another one announcing that something really terrible was wrong. All those codings came in. And what the control tower should have done immediately would have been to alert the fire service department, who would have lined up the runway even before the plane touched down. But
when we say this here, the duration of the time when he sends that signal and the time of touchdown, it can be a case of 4 or 5 seconds.
It's possible.
Or 1 minute.
It's all
what can you do in that period?
It's all possible, but that's what we have on our hands, because the imagination remains that had those fire trucks being
properly positioned
right along the runway, the likelihood would have been that as soon as that plane touched down and then hit hard, bounced up and hit again and came down the third time, and of course lost its undercarriages. It lost its undercarriages in the process. Leading to a tail strike. That is to say, the rear part of where you have your elevators, those horizontal membranes hit the ground and actually rubbed on the third runway, and of course caused sparks and set the engines and and the rear empennage ablaze. Had they been positioned, even as he was slowing down, those fire trucks would have gone after it and would have been pumping foam, on the airplane, and I bet you perhaps no one would have lost his life or her life in that airplane. But what was more, you hear more about the wrong thing that the fire service did.
Okay, let me not preempt you now. Let's go to clip 3 very quickly.
No. We haven't finished.
Clip 2. Go back to clip 2.
Yes. So paragraph 2 of that says, experts are expected to investigate the actions of Sheremetyevo's Fire and Rescue Service. The air traffic control were said to be late with raising the alarm, that fire engines had not left the fire station at the time of the accident. Within the first 6 minutes, only 2 of the 6 available fire engines were involved in the firefighting. What's more, the engines were filled with water rather than foam, which is more effective against a fuel-fed fire. When fire is fed by fuel, what you use is foam and not water. Unfortunately, it's surprising that an advanced country like Russia, that things like this are still going on there. So that's encouraging for Nigeria, that we can actually do much better. We can do much better. Okay. All right. Okay. Clip 3, please.
Clip 3.
Here we go.
That's clip 3.
Accident aftermath.
Good.
Within 24 hours, this is where we need to also learn a lesson as a nation, and the aviation sector. We really need to straighten things out and then begin to have things go the way they should.
Quickly.
Yeah. Well, let's see this aftermath and learn some lessons from it.
Okay.
Within 24 hours of the accident, Aeroflot announced that it would compensate surviving passengers and the families of the deceased in the following fashion.
Fine.
1.
Passengers that do not.
Passengers that did not require hospitalization. they were to be given 1 million rubles. Rubles is the currency of Russia. Okay,
so 17,141
US dollars.
Okay.
Passengers who were hospitalized will earn 2 million rubles, equivalent of 34,282 US dollars. That's quite good money, isn't it? Families of those who died will be given 5 million rubles, equivalent of 85,704 US dollars.
Okay.
This was announced within 24 hours of that accident. Take a note of that and compare it with what we usually experience
over a year. The media will be on top of it. The government will speak. The insurance firm will have to go front and back, and we all will just be there struggling over what will likely not come. Some will even go to court and have to go and press charges to get insurance payment.
I thought, be sure of that. Be sure of that. My beautiful temple attorneys, BTA, that we're setting up, the infrastructure is all being set up. When we are ready, you journalists will launch it for us, and we'll make sure that no messing around, no fooling around in the aviation sector. No one will be given 1 second of chance. Not the passengers, not the operators. Anyone that goes wrong will pay dearly for it. And that's the way to really straighten us out and get us on our feet and begin to do things with international standard. That is coming very, very soon. Very soon. And I gaze and hope that you journalists will be there to send out the message to the world
accordingly,
and then have Nigerians begin to key in and register and be part of it. Shortly after the accident,
that's clip 3.
Yes, we're still going with clip 3. This time paragraph 3, the last paragraph of it. Shortly after the accident, on 5th May 2019, a social justice portal, change.org. This portal is exactly the same type of thing that BTA will be dealing with. Now, change.org created a petition demanding that Sukhoi Superjet 100 be grounded until investigations are completed.
Okay.
140,000 people signed the online petition within 3 days.
That's good.
Can we move quickly to
that's good. Quickly.
Clip 4?
Clip 4. That's clip 4 there.
The accident aftermath continues.
Okay.
The Russian press secretary, however, dismissed the petition, insisting that only competent aviation authorities would make that decision rather than citizens who signed the petition on the social portal.
Okay.
The Russian Ministry of Transport insisted that SSJ 100, that is the Sukhoi Superjet 100, had no obvious design flaw and therefore cannot be grounded. Okay. On May 6, 2019, Russian regional carrier Yamal Airlines announced that it was canceling its remaining order of 10 Sukhoi Superjet 100s because of high maintenance costs. What an excuse to give, and what a coincidence. It was after the accident that they knew that they had
high maintenance
costs. Oh, all right. Clip 5.
Clip 5 quickly.
Clip 5. Are we there? Here we go. The same accident aftermath continues. On the 15th May 2019, Mexican low-cost airline Interjet announced that it was selling 20 Sukhoi Superjets as they were no longer profitable to operate in Mexico due to their size. To the size of the aircraft. Yeah, it's quite a small one. It's purely for regional and oh boy. Interjet, with its fleet of 22 Sukhoi Superjet 100, was the biggest Sukhoi Superjet 100 operator outside Russia. I'll take that again. Interjet, with its fleet of 22 Sukhoi Superjet 100, was the biggest Sukhoi Superjet 100 operator outside Russia.
Yeah. Okay.
Investigations are continuing. We shall bring you more information as we receive them.
That means that the jet is in very, very small shape.
Yeah, if they were to present to our viewers
the
picture of the interior, you know, and the seat arrangements, we have them in the system. Our viewers will understand it's a single-aisle airplane just meant for regional use.
How many seater plane?
Well, some of them are just about 90, and some 100 and 110 passengers.
But that will not be too good for business.
Well, that's why Mexico is giving up their 22 units of those, because.
I'm sorry, I may not know what have guided the manufacturer here, but to ask you here, what really guide them, what really propel them, what really make them to do all of this, to manufacture a jet this small size?
One is that it comes with lower cost for purchase. Two is if you're doing a local flight and you don't need to have too many seats that will be left empty during your flight, then you don't need the huge airplanes. What you need will be planes designed for those purposes. So if you have a 200-seater airplane running from Abuja to Lagos, and each time you are making such a trip, you don't have up to 120 passengers to occupy those seats, you can see that it's all a waste. And remember, the number of seats or the size of an airplane determines the crew that must be on board. So whether you go with,
or is it not? I hold the view that the bigger the plane, the safer the approach. The safer the plane.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't follow. It doesn't follow. As long as planes are undergoing their checks and are maintained. Remember, I said to you, airplanes are as new as their checks done.
Because I knew that I had flown. Is it Aska? They call that airline. Is it Aska? They call it from Nigeria, from Lagos to Aviation, and it's quite a very light, small plane, and you could see everybody by the side, and I really wasn't feeling too.
Well,
one
of the experiences would be that if you run into turbulence, the shaking of the airplane will be much higher and more felt by passengers sitting in there than the huge jumbo jet. Before you run into a turbulence that really gives you discomfort in the huge jumbo jet, it must be a very horrible turbulence going on. For the lighter airplanes, a little undulation of formation of cloud can actually shake it up and toss you about, but ultimately, they run through those turbulence and still remain stable and take you to where you're going for as long as they are well maintained and all the rules of flying are obeyed. For instance, very often you find accidents that happen during landing being as a result of pilots breaching the sterile cockpit rules. Remember, I thought you cockpit rules during your final approach for landing. Okay. What the pilots and any other crew within that cockpit should be discussing would be the safe landing. Anything concerning that landing. If there is nothing to discuss concerning that landing, they just watch. They should just shut up.
No gossip, no talk, no family matter.
No pleasantries. no admirations. When a beautiful hostess walks in, you say you're looking cute this morning. You are not to say.
Let's land. To say that. When we land safely, she can look cute. So can we go to clip 4 quickly?
No. We are. I think we're done with all our.
No, but let's go back to clip 3. Clip 3. I want to see that photograph. I want to see that photograph in clip 3. Very importantly, the photograph in clip 3. If we could see the photograph in clip 3, I really want to see that photograph. We go back to clip 3. If we can take clip 3 back from the control room, let's see clip 3 so that we can check. I know the photograph there. What is the photograph in that clip 3 are talking about?
I can actually pull it up.
Okay, this is the photograph.
Yeah, that is the headquarters of that French organization that I told you, in charge of security and rest of them, the BEA.
Okay.
That is their headquarters in Le Bourget airport in France. That's where that is located. And I thought I should just show our viewers
a very simple, very simple building.
Simple and nice, old-fashioned building, but doing great job. Not only in France, but the whole of West and Eastern Europe. And so that's it. But then again, if they can find us the photo of the interior.
The interior, if you can get in the interior of the plane.
The interior of the plane, where you have the configuration, okay. not the cockpit.
This is the cockpit.
The other one for the seats, the arrangement of the seats. This is the cockpit of Sukhoi. Lovely, isn't it? With a receded pilot seat. That is the interior. You can see now that it's a compact. It's a compact airplane.
Small.
Single aisle with 3-row seats on the left, depending on where you're
not 2 on your side. Not 2 on the other side.
Yeah, 2 on the other side, and 3 on this side with a very narrow, aisle. You would then imagine the horrible time.
That means that the pilot and others survived. The impact will be at the back.
Look, actually, those that died at the back was because fire erupted from the rear. There was a tail strike.
That's true.
The tail of the airplane hit the ground, sparked fire, set the empennage. The empennage is that tail section of. If you come back to us, let me show you. Okay. Yeah, here we go. The whole of this place. When you talk about tail strike, these are the horizontal members where you have your elevators. If you are talking about dropping and this hitting the ground in this fashion, that is what is known as tail strike.
Okay.
So it sparks on fire, caught fire. This whole section is known as empennage of the airplane, and then the entire unit up from beginning to the end is known as the fuselage. But the empennage is from this point up to somewhere here. That's what you describe as the empennage, and it contains. That's where you even have your black boxes, installed on the rest of them, and the bear, your rudder, your elevators, and the rest of them. So fire started here and continued to rage while people were trapped. And those, as soon as the plane came to a stop and the automatic doors opened with a slide, rather than people running off as quickly as possible, what did they do? They were reaching out to the overhead luggage compartment to pick up their hand luggages. In the process, they blocked those at the rear, and fire consumed them. So that's a lesson for flying public in Nigeria. Anytime you experience such an issue,
even I watched some clips from other clients where you have an emergency on the road, and when you have emergency on the road, what the people do is to actually shift to both edge of the road shoulders and leave the center open for emergency vehicles that will really drive through. But in case of ours, once we got an emergency, we quickly clear in a dual carriageway. We form about 6 lanes, block it properly, and leave ourselves.
As a matter of fact, after it breaks my heart. I'm doing my little bit in the aviation sector. It breaks my heart that we are not teaching the nation enough, not in medicine, not in
aviation,
you know,
not in roads, not in roads, not in anything.
I mean, people are just totally ignorant of what they are supposed to be doing, even how to handle switches at home. Some electrical experts should be able to, you know, pick up this, buy airtime on TV. This is how to give back to our nation. You know, it doesn't have to earn you money. You know, we can build. We're always dreaming. Oh, America is so good. Oh,
Dubai.
I went to Dubai. Oh, I went to Singapore, and all those kind of stuff. Why can't my nation be there? Who is going to create that nation for you?
It's us.
We must create it ourselves. Educate, you know, people around us. Get them to know what they should know, and then you find people behaving better. You find people living, you know, higher quality lives, and then these things add up and give us the effect we are looking for.
Okay.
They won't fall from the skies. Never, never. They won't fall.
Thank you very much, Mr. Godwin Enike. We thank you very much for this day. Let's just hope and pray. One lesson we'll take when we have emergency. The first point is exit. Forget about your luggage. You can buy those. You can buy those laptop back. You can buy everything back. You can make more money. You can buy those good clothes. You can buy everything back. But please consider the life of others and quickly exit the plane. Stop struggling for things that cannot really bring back our lives. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Wish you all the best.
Thank you very
And we'll be looking at another topic by next week, Monday. And the other Monday we'll look at again. That will be the Monday of inauguration. Thank you very much. After next week, Monday, that will be the pre-inauguration discussion on aviation. Then subsequently on Wednesday, the upper week, President Bawari will be sworn in for a second term. Then we'll follow through. Thanks for staying with us, sir.
Right,
okay, we'll take a break very quickly. When we return from the break, the program this morning on ITV will continue.